Hello, would you like to boost your immune system to recover or keep your good health? So, let me guide you in an experience almost magical. You will mobilize your mind and your body in a simple and natural way. In real, you will not have anything really special to do. You will only use your mind, your imagination. Do you know what one of the fathers of modern medicine, Claude Bernard, once said? He said that the function creates the organ. Here, we are talking about acting, moving towards a direction that mobilizes and makes our body evolve. It is also said that our energy goes where our attention is turned onto. For instance, now, if you are thinking of your fingertips, well, without doing anything else, it will accentuate the blood pressure in this part of your body. The simple fact of having focused your attention on it, moved or even modified such an important thing as your blood circulation. It's immediate, and it's your mind, your imagination that did it. Your mind is always here. It's so present that it's unperceivable, since it's so obvious and so vital. So, simply do nothing. If it is not yet the case, just close your eyes, like a way to tell yourself that the journey is about to begin, that you are going to experience something important for you. It's a way to stop looking at how things look like in order to plunge into the heart of what really matters. And then you can let yourself be carried by my voice and the music, for instance, or choose a pleasant thought. You don't even need to listen to what I'm talking about, because, to be honest, all this is not addressed to your will or to your intelligence. It's more addressed to the deep and sensitive areas inside of you. Do you remember what Peter Pan used to say? If you want to fly, just find a joyful and pleasant thought, and in this day and age, it turns out that it may be useful or even almost compulsory to always carry around a pleasant thought. It's even more true that, do you know that fear, anxiety, doubt, things like that do a strange effect on our body? They generate the production of little molecules of hormones that impact the good functioning of our immune system. Which beats all, since precisely today or any time in the future, we need that our system functions at its best. Picture it. An experiment was done with students. They were told that they had a surprise exam. Well, guess what? After immediate verification, it was found out that this simple announcement made the activity of their immune system drop. And in this state, they were all so weak that they could have got a cold at the very least. So, first observation, the fear that urges us to protect ourselves is precisely what will weaken us and make it easier for the disease to develop. The fear that urges us to close up into ourselves, into our shell, is precisely what will shut us out of life and make it easier for the disease to develop. It's an understandable reaction. However, it is everything but what must be done in such a case. Besides, we all like the sun and the light, and when the weather is cold and grey, it's normal to find less heat and less light outside. Therefore, we need all this even more inside. And something inside of you now starts to understand an important phenomenon for the rest of your life. Have you ever heard of this story of a thief who approached two houses? The first house was very barricaded, and who knows why, the thief found it quite to his taste, since, in fact, he found his way around. He found in particular what he was familiar with, the insecurity and the fear of the others, the lack as well. So, the thief approached the so well-locked house even more gladly. Whereas he would naturally avoid the other house, even though it was sweet and quiet, peaceful, with an open door. Because this peace, it was not him. It did not vibrate like him. And then, without really knowing why, he could not feel this house at all. His intuition shouted at him not to get closer. The thief, and everything in life is like this actually. Well, he was like a magnet. A magnet is something that is looking for a surface where to stick onto. Based on affinity, it sticks onto something that is like it. Have you ever seen a magnet stuck on glass or crystal? And like the magnet or the crystal, you have your true nature, your own vibration, like anything else in life. This is why, for instance, jealous people always have betrayal issues, because they carry it inside of them. Even if it is unexpressed, they attract what they fear. And obviously, the thief fears to be stolen, and indeed, it happens to him quite often, even indirectly. He always feels a lack. The people who see red, for instance, who are red with anger, well, they face anger. They carry anger in them. This is why the others get angry at them, because of this way of being. It's like if we are radios. Picture it. If we tune ourselves towards a particular frequency, we pick up the luminous broadcasts. But if we tune ourselves towards the black frequency, we only pick up the dark broadcasts, at least not ones that we were expecting at the beginning. And it's curious to notice that most often, all what we do to protect ourselves from something is exactly what we should not do to really protect ourselves. For instance, some people have a disposition that could be qualified as inner. Most of the time, they are more sensitive than average. Well, to protect themselves from the outside, from what could shock them, from anything that could get inside of them, these people barricade themselves even more. It creates a well-known symptom called asthma. The throat barricades itself, it refuses the air from the outside, they lock themselves in. Wham! The more something stresses them, the more they suffocate. And the more they suffocate, the more they barricade themselves. And eventually, what was supposed to protect them becomes a prison. So, when you think of it, the more we feel aggressed by the outside, the more we protect ourselves. The more we protect ourselves, the more we suffocate. Imagine now an oyster that would be afraid of the water around, and therefore that would shut itself in, Well, at some point, it would dry inside, suffocate, get scared, and shut itself in even more. And the more it protects itself from the outside, the more it suffocates, and what was supposed to save us ends up to kill us. So, what is the right answer then? Most often, as we can discover it through hypnosis, the answer is curious, weird, strange, even paradoxical, or illogical from a usual viewpoint. When someone has an immune issue, even a serious one, it can even be as serious as AIDS or something like that, if you really want to help them, and we got testimonies of success for this approach, if you really want to help them, whereas their survival depends on the good functioning of their immune system, well, teach them the opposite reaction. Teach them to open up, to live fearless, because in being scared of the outside world, in shutting themselves in, they withdraw from life itself. They may have protected themselves a little bit from the others, but in doing this, they also cut themselves from the streams of life, and they eventually kill themselves in fighting for life. So, teach them to open up, to reconnect to the world around them, to life, to the others. Probably inside there is a little voice saying, "Be careful, no, watch out, it's dangerous to do this, I'm going to be invaded, aggressed, I will die," and so on. Actually, all these fears come from our deep system, also called our reptilian brain. It's the part that plays the role of our protector. It's our survival instinct. The problem is that it's too old, too archaic. It's 400 million years old. It understands and works like in the old times, like at the time of the wars and the conflicts. And nowadays, we all see that these wars and conflicts are making nature and life on Earth disappear. It's an old model. It's no longer working. It's obsolete and maybe even dangerous now. So, it's your job, consciously, to teach your protector, the reptilian, a new way of being, a new way of feeling, a new way of thinking, a new way of functioning. In fact, a new way of living that allows life. What risk do you take? Instead of escaping, protecting yourself, and barricading yourself, what if you welcomed inside of you the object of your fears? What would really happen? Think about it. If you really are aligned with yourself, if you are calm, clear, and bright inside of yourself, what could happen? Picture it. If you can, imagine being surrounded by the most profound darkness. Exaggerate the blackness and the thickness of the obscurity. Do it. In you, you are this little house right here, in the middle of all this darkness, and it's right inside. You may have already seen what I'm about to tell you with a church or a beautiful house with decorated windows. It's nighttime, there is a ceremony or a party, and there is some light in the church or the house. And all the decorated windows that we barely see at the time now illuminate the outside in the night. It looks like a magical lantern. All the beautiful colors appear. They are even cast everywhere around. Why? Because They are here to watch over you. And because it's dark, when everything is going well at the time, they are here as well, but we need them less and we pay less attention to them. It's like the stars. They are always here, but we see them only at night, when we really need them. When it's dark, their light illuminates the outside in order to reassure us and guide us. So, let's do this experiment. Do you remember your little house surrounded by the most profound darkness? Well, open the doors. Yes, go on. Fearless. Open the doors. And be honest. What's happening? Were your fears justified? Did the darkness invade the house? Or, on the contrary, did the inner light go out through the doors to illuminate the darkness outside? This is what is happening, right? In fact, obscurity cannot get inside because the biggest mass of darkness has never managed to blow out the tiniest candle. No shadow can turn off the light. So, what are you afraid of? Open the doors. What can happen? All these little things that are turning around, all these little lives, all these little microbes, all these little viruses and other little creatures, do you know what they are looking for? Exactly the same as you. They are looking for the light. They want to transcend, evolve, grow, like you. In French we say, I saw the light, so I got in, which means I noticed that there is somebody home, so I went inside. It's all about being friendly, convivial, lively. Nobody ever complained about that, right? And us, in such difficult times, what are we doing? We barricade ourselves, we shut ourselves in. So, these little things, they are knocking at the door a little louder, and we are shutting ourselves in even more, as if the little shadow could affect the great light. It has never happened. It's just physically impossible. So, someone is knocking at your door. Well, open the door. If you have this light inside, what is about to happen? The shadow enters and turns into light. Once I did a scientific experiment. I was in a very dark room, very, very dark. And on the wall, there was a little square with a plastic switch. I pushed up that thing, and wow, the whole room got filled with light. Then I put down that thing, all dark. Once again, up, all bright and luminous everywhere. Once more down, all dark again. I told myself as a great scientist, where the heck is this dark going when I switch on the light? Click. I pushed up the switch and the shadow disappeared. So I was looking for it everywhere, behind the furniture, under my seat. There was some darkness left, of course, but all in all, nothing compared to before. The room was locked, so where did the rest of the shadow go? After some thoughts and some experiments, here is my conclusion on this topic. It seems to me that, in fact, when we switch on the light, the shadow never disappears. Yes, it stays there, but it transforms itself. It turns into light. This is actually what is happening when you open the doors. The shadow around you turns into light. Of course, The little house did not manage to light up the whole darkness around on its own, just by opening its doors. And it's normal. Since the time of the old say, every man for himself is over, every little house that opens its doors will light up its own little piece of land, and you will see the whole planet shining, provided of course that everyone does it at their own level, in their own house, on a daily basis. It sounds like nothing much. Imagine now that every little grain of sand of the beach focuses on itself and let the others be. Then it can become as white and as bright as dreamt, and this whole vast beach with its big stones that hurt the feet, it will become a magnificent beach of white and thin sand, and everyone will live happily. So, what should we do when someone next to us is blowing their nose, sneezing, and coughing, and they are looking sick? It happened to me once. I was on my way to Montreal to give a class. It was a 7-hour flight, and guess what? Right next to me, there was this man who was blowing his nose and coughing. I told myself, damn, I'm going to spend 7 hours next to someone who is sick. He's going to give me his cold. I sat anyway, and guess what? The other person who sat next to me on the other side, well, he was sick too. He was also coughing and blowing his nose. So I told myself, I can't believe it, I'm cursed. My first reaction was, how can I protect myself? I'm going to have a quite busy week. I must be in good health. And instinctively, I closed up. That's exactly how our reptilian brain reacts. It's scared. This part of our brain is the part that calls the others strangers, that guards its territory, that watches over, that can even be aggressive as well. But guess what? It's only the gatekeeper. Tell me something. At the very bottom of your residential apartment building, if you live in a building, or on the first floor of the office building where you work, there is probably a doorkeeper, right? And of course, he is not the boss. He is not the head of the family. He is not the boss at work. He is not in charge of managing or giving orders. His job is to protect you. He is in your service. If you're having a party at your place, you will tell him, let these people in, I invited them. So I caught myself just in time and told myself, hold on, the old way of reacting out. Let's open up. Let's breathe. Come on. Obviously, breathing next to someone who is coughing is not natural. Well, let's deal with it. And let's calm down. Let's breathe. Let's stay confident and serene. Let's radiate all the light that we have inside. Let's be happy, joyful, with a pleasant thought like Peter Pan. Let's turn the shadow into light. Anyway, it happens on its own, simply, thanks to our touch. And this is what I did. When I put myself in this way of thinking, believe it or not, I can't explain it, both of my neighbors stopped coughing and blowing their nose. I don't know why. As for me, in my head, I just thought to myself, give it to me, give me your shadow, I will deal with it. The shadow, my specialty. So, was it that simple? Nobody knows, except that during the 7-hour flight, the two men next to me stopped coughing or blowing their nose. And I like the idea that they remained cured like this afterwards. This said, What was the best way to protect myself? Barricading myself in a small bubble besieged by the cold? Or dealing with the cold around in order to breathe peacefully and freely because there is no more virus? Well, it's logical. The best protection is when there is no more danger around. The best protected house is the one that can remain open. How come didn't we think of it before? So simple, right? So, if it's not yet done, light up your little lantern inside. Focus your attention on the light which shines inside of you, as you did at the beginning of this experience in focusing your attention on your fingertips. Just like that, with no particular will, just breathe, and for each breath, you know what is going to happen? Like when you blow on the fire in order to fan it? Well, while breathing, all the oxygen comes to fan your inner fire. And this particular light will start to fill inside of you more and more at each breath. Even when you will no longer think about it, it will go on like that. Here you go, just like that. It will go on like this so easily that in a few minutes or a few hours, all this light inside will even come and brush your skin. And you know, your skin is full of small holes, the small pores of the skin. Well, just like that, your inner light is going to get outside through these little holes. It will create rays all around you. And you can turn yourself into a little sun. And look now, it's funny. Maybe you have already noticed it while walking in the streets. It seems that people see it too. They smile at you. They look at you in the eyes. They even seem to think that you look great. And you know what we say about someone who is doing great? He or she is radiant. Maybe that's why. And while walking around in the city, like a candle lighting up the others, without doing anything, just like that, because you have your own inner light, well, you just go and light up many, many, many other candles, as I did in the plane with the two men next to me, and with each a light candle. It will be a little bit more of transform shadow. And do you remember the beach? It will become more beautiful and healthier than ever. And you can breathe peacefully because you will have done your good deed. You will be protected while protecting the others. Why didn't I get a cold on board? Because no one had it anymore. One for all and all for one. So you know now what's left to do. Just take deep breaths, feel your inner light, stretch your body, open your eyes, keep all this inside of you. And now it's time for you to go and discover your new life with all this. Good job. Thank you.